There we go.
All right, so we've got the AFC North here, and I know you two especially have a lot to say about this division when it comes to the quarterbacks, and so do I. So, Zeke, let's begin with the one and only one-time MVP, action Lamar Jackson, LJ Era 8 of the Baltimore Ravens.
All right. Everybody knows how I feel about Lamar. It's not a hidden thing. Okay. We got my W's. I'll be a little nice towards Lamar. I'm gonna give Lamar, and this is honesty. I'm gonna actually, it's probably gonna be my highest. I'm gonna give him an A-. I'm gonna give him an A- for the fact that he's not really turning the ball over. He is actually proving me wrong in the fact that he's starting to pass more. He does obviously still have his long runs. He had a long run last week and one against us, but he looks to pass a little bit more now. You could tell he starts to take off a little bit and he stops and he starts throwing. So his throwing has definitely gotten better, which I've never said about Lamar. So I got to give him credit. And it looks like if he stays on the path he's going, not saying he's going to be the MVP, but he'll definitely be in the talks.
I'm just bringing up the game stats for Lamar Jackson this past weekend just to kind of see where he's at. I probably wouldn't go as high as you, Zeke. I'd probably go B+. I still think Lamar relies a little too much on his running ability, which not a bad thing. But he's still not really wowing me when it comes to passing. They had a grand total. Now, this may be sacks taken into account, but they had a grand total of 206 yards against the Patriots this past weekend. It's not really that great, all things considered. So I think as a quarterback, B+. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's having a very good season. This is coming from a Bengals fan. I can recognize that. He had a very good game against the Dolphins. I haven't watched enough of the Dolphins to really tell whether or not they have an elite defense or just a really good defense, and he just got around them with all the points that he scored last in week 2. But overall, he is having a good season. If he continues on this pace, I mean, definitely one of the MVP frontrunners, and my grade will probably go up towards the end of the season. I just don't know that what he's doing right now is going to be sustainable, and that right now we're seeing him fresh and healthy and just not worn down over the course of the long season. And I think as the season goes, he's probably going to come back down to earth a little bit with what he's doing. Zeke, we're losing you here.
Oh, my bad.
Oh, your fault. This guy sucks.
But I think Lamar Jackson will probably come back down a little bit through the rest of the season. But for right now, B+. And if I'm proven wrong and he continues on this pace that he's on, then I definitely see A+ for sure being an MVP season this year.
So when it comes to Lamar Jackson, this year, like you said, Austin, sometimes he starts off fresh and then kind of declines as the season goes on. But his accuracy, like the zip that he has on his ball, like it actually his mechanics have looked clunky in the past before. But this year, like he actually has like a presence in the pocket. Like he looks more confident when he delivers the ball. That ball has zip on it. That ball has accuracy. When it comes to his stats, you got to evaluate Lamar differently than other quarterbacks. Like yards matter more to other quarterbacks just because of how this guy can change the trajectory of a game on his legs, how he manages the game overall. I mean, I don't care about passing yards. You have 200 passing yards. I look at how many points that offense as a unit generated, and for the past 2 weeks, it's been over 30. And you can attribute a lot of that to your quarterback. So Lamar's balling out when you're having over 100 rushing yards every week. I mean, that's phenomenal. Coupling that with 200 and 300 passing yards a week, the guy is throwing touchdown passes. He's balling out. I gotta give him an A-, and he's gonna be well on his way to his contract if he sustains his play like this. So let's talk about your boy Austin, Joey B, Cincinnati.
Joey B. Poor Joey B. Joe Burrow, like Austin was talking about to us earlier, it's taking a little bit, things are taking a little bit offensively, but I'd probably go with B, because the thing about Joe Burrow is that it's going to work eventually, and not that he's played awful, he hasn't, but I'd go with B. He's still giving good play, especially on against the Jets, man. Second half, that touchdown, it was T. Higgins, right, in the back of the end zone.
We're losing you again, Zeke. Hold on, your camera's going up. Yeah, it was T in the back of the end zone. That touchdown that didn't count. Yeah.
That, if it would have counted, let me tell you, it was one of the best I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
But no, Joe Burrow, I'd say B. You know what you get with Joe Burrow. You know that you're going to get consistency throughout the season. And some may say best quarterback in this division, but I'd say B.
All right, so this is probably going to surprise you guys, but I'm actually going to give Joe Burrow a B-. And there's a couple of reasons. Seeing Joe Burrow last year throughout the entire season, he was a little shaky at the beginning of the year, coming off of that knee injury, and right now we're seeing that shakiness because of that appendix surgery that he had and how rough that was and how long it took him to come back. So he is looking to get more comfortable. I think we finally saw that this weekend against the Jets, but man, that game against the Steelers and against the Cowboys, they pinned their ears back and made it hurt. And he looked uncomfortable for the first time that I've really ever seen him look uncomfortable. And I think that's, a lot of that, some of that can be put on the offensive line not playing together and haven't played together up to this point. One of them returning from last year and all four of the other offensive linemen being new. You can put a little bit of blame on there. But if you look at the games and you look how they're being played, a lot of that blame actually, I would probably say about 65 to 70% of that blame actually rests on Joe Burrow's shoulders. And he's just it looks like he's felt really uncomfortable during the first 2 weeks. And this past weekend, being the third game under his belt, not having a super elite pass rusher like a TJ Watt or Micah Parsons coming after him like he has had the last 2 weeks, I think he was able to get himself more comfortable and allowed the Bengals to really open up the playbook. But up to this point, B-.
So I'm not somebody that likes to overreact or panic about things. Joe Burrow's looked shaky the past 3 weeks, first 3 weeks of the season. But so did Patrick Mahomes last year. Patrick Mahomes looked shaky for the first 2 months last year, and he finished the year on a very strong note and ended up out-dueling Josh Allen and playing in the AFC Championship for the 4th, 5th straight year. So I can see like perennial greatness in players like your Patrick Mahomes, your Josh Allen, your Joe Burrows. Like you can just see it at a young age that they just have the mental resiliency to overcome whatever challenge is facing them. Joe Burrows can do the same thing this year. So right now, like Austin, I'm going to give him a B-. Right now, if you're asking me week 3. However, I think that's just going to grow as the season goes on. I think it has a high ceiling. I think going to A-, maybe even A, by the time December, Christmas time rolls around. He could be even playing at an A level. But right now, I've seen a lot of hesitation. Hesitation has been the big thing with Joe Burrow. There's that offensive line has caught a lot of flack. And last year it was warranted, but this year it's been unnecessary. Joe Burrow's got to get rid of the ball. He just has to gain comfort with that once again, and that's a mental thing. But I really think that in these next couple of weeks you're going to see him overcome that. Yeah, I think you'll see him look a lot better this Thursday. I think that you'll see drastic improvement in him over the next couple weeks, and you'll see him return to a higher level once again. So let's segue into the one and only Jacoby Brissette, representing the beautiful city of Cleveland, Ohio. Zeke, what do you got to say about him? I know you have a lot to say about him.
Well, here's the thing. I've learned a lot when it comes to how important coaching is to quarterbacks. And I think I've noticed that was a big part of the issue with him last year in Miami. He didn't have good coaching, offensive coaching. I'm going to give him a C- overall, only because really they are a run-heavy team, and that's really carried them, even though, somehow they lost that game to the Jets. I don't know how that happened, but it did. He looks like he has good command of the offense overall for what it is, and he knows what he needs to just simply do. He's not going to wow you. He's not going to do anything crazy. Turn around, hand the ball off to Nick Chubb over and over, and then Kareem Hunt over and over. And then every once in a while, hey, dump one off to Amari Cooper. Why not, right? I mean, you only had to give up a 5th-round pick for him. So overall, I'd say probably a C-. It's nothing to be wowed about.
Yeah, I got to agree with you, Zeke. C-. He's right now just being a game manager. He's handing the ball off to the guys that he needs to hand the ball off to, and they're doing the rest of the work. And he's Charlie check down Charlie the rest of the time. So he hasn't wowed me. He hasn't done anything to surprise me. This is what I kind of expected out of Jacoby Brissette. Yeah, C-. And side note, I'm going to give an F for Deshaun because he's nowhere to be found.
You had to throw that in there. The Bengal fan that throw that.
Absolutely, I had to.
You got to be in class to pass.
Exactly. Attendance is mandatory in this class.
So Jacoby Brissette's been present in class. I mean, he hasn't been exactly dazzling, but he's at least just been there. And I'm going to agree with you, gentlemen. I'm going to go C- with Jacoby because he's been exactly like Austin was saying. He's been a check down Charlie these past couple weeks. He hasn't fumbled the bag. He fumbled the bag a lot with Miami. He hasn't fumbled the bag yet this year. He doesn't put the Browns in unfavorable situations, but he doesn't put them in favorable situations either. So it's just been really neutral. He's been a neutral performer this year. He's kind of just fulfilled the job requirement. C-. Zeke, what do you think about Mitchell Trubisky?
Oh God. Well, he plays football on Sunday.
Yeah.
I'd say a D, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, the offense. Let's be honest. We all three of us know what the heart of the Pittsburgh Steelers is, and it's the defense. Now, it's unfortunate because they got guys like Deontay Johnson who targets a lot. Who I like Deontay Johnson, man. I think the kid's a baller. Chase Claypool, I know you don't really like Brian. He's there. He's got some weapons.
Sucks.
Pittsburgh's not aggressive. They're never gonna be aggressive with Mitch, especially at quarterback. D, just flat D. I can't. There's just nothing there to really be happy about. Put Kenny Pickett in. That's what I got to say.
I'm going to go the worst grade fucking possible. And pardon my French, but it's going to be an F-. And you can say I'm salty for week 1. I'm really not being salty about that game. He just looks bad. I mean, there was a lot of hope coming into this year that, he was going to be fixed or better because of the time that he spent in Buffalo with Josh Allen and Brian Dable. And that just isn't the case. He honestly looks worse than he did when he was in Chicago. And, I really watched what he did week 1 against the Bengals, and he just couldn't get anything going. And then last week against the Patriots, couldn't get anything going. I don't even want to know who they fucking played this past weekend because – oh, no, it was against the Browns. And he looked a little bit better against the Browns, but even still, he looked bad. I mean, he really looked bad. And, I mean, he looks old. He looks out of practice. He looks older than he is, and he looks very out of practice. And he probably, in my opinion, probably the worst quarterback in the NFL right now. I mean, he's just that bad.
Well, I've been waiting to say this for a long time. I'm joyous to express this, to say the very least. But let's go down the list here. Pittsburgh sucks. The Steelers suck. The defense. Well, I can't say the defense does. Chase Claypool sucks. And Mitchell Trubisky, like the rest of them, sucks. There's really no other way to put it. That offense looks absolutely anemic. I joke around. I'm not a big Chase Claypool fan, but he's a above average receiver. So is Deontay Johnson, and Pat Freiermuth is a pretty decent tight end. And Mitchell Trubisky hasn't really moved the needle at all this year. I've got to go with a D minus. That team is boring to watch. The entire team as a unit just sucks, and I love to say that Pittsburgh sucks because they do. Zeke said, the defense is the heartbeat of that team, and the defense is decent. I was going to call their bluff, but they've been decent. But they've been hard of that team. Pittsburgh may have a heart, but it's not beaten right now. It's not going to be beaten for the next couple of years. So, yeah. Mitch sucks, and so does Pittsburgh. That's all I got to say.